So are we? So are we? Are we ready to start?
Absolutely. Whenever you're ready, can we start right away?
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's start. Go ahead.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Sasan Show, a podcast where I have interesting conversations with smart, intelligent people. Today, I'm deeply honored and privileged to be having a conversation with Lieutenant Colonel Vishal. He's a former Army officer who served with the National Security Guard, or NSG. He's well versed in the art of counter-terrorism and counter-hijacking. If that wasn't cool enough, he's also a commando instructor. Today, we're delving into the remarkable journey that takes ordinary civilians and shapes them into warriors. How do they build the mental fortitude and grit that helps them face any challenge head on? Sir, I would like to thank you for your service to our country and also welcome you to my podcast.
Oh, thank you. It's a great honor, buddy. Thank you so much.
So, sir, let's start at the very beginning. Okay, how did you decide to join the army?
Well, it was about 30 odd years back when
Okay,
when I was thinking of joining the. I was in fact studying in Pune.
okay,
I did my 11th and 12th from Pune, and
okay,
I was in school. So we had a lot of influence of the ND cadets there. Plus, I am a second generation NDA cadet myself because my father was also in the 27 NDA
okay.
force from Julius Cotton, and it was a great motivation to get into his shoes and join the National Defense Academy, because that was the I mean guys like us who were uh, sort of science students, but did not have the capability to sort of join the medicals. So
Yeah.
I thought, we must crack the NDA and you know have a good time in NDA. So being a sportsman myself, I was very good at sports, and so I thought, let me just try the National Defense Academy. And yes, I it was a great honor to sort of join the NDA and learn the so many things from everybody, from instructors, from my drill instructors, from my course mates. It was wonderful. In fact, this
Before
couple,
we get to your NDA days, would you mind sharing a few moments from your SSB? How was your SSB? Were you able to clear it in the first shot? And a lot of people may not know this, but the SSB is a 5-day long interview that the army takes. So if you could give us a few, plus my cousin's listening, he is going to be going for his SSB. So if you could give him a tip or two, that'll be great.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. In fact, a couple of years back, I remember I cracked my SSB first time, first attempt.
Okay.
So SSB was never a problem for me. Written was a problem for me, for sure. So, because I was not very good at maths and NDA, in case you got to clear NDA, you have to have a very sharp and a quick maths to sort out those 120 questions and come into the merit list. So SSB was never a problem, although my SSB was at 18 SSB Allahabad,
Oh, Allahabad is supposed to be the toughest center.
which was supposed to be, it was called as the one which is, it was called the rejection center during our time. So I don't know, but, it was quite okay for me. And I was just normal. You got to be simple, you got to be straight, you got to be honest. And, whatever they ask you, just be straightforward and just be normal. And that is how they will, in case they like you, they'll keep you. In case they don't like you, they will kick you out. So it's fine. It's okay. So, but yes, I remember one question specifically. The SSB interviewing officer asked me, "What sports you play?" So I said, "Sir, I play football for the school team, and I was also the captain of NDA and IMA during my time. Uh, got a half blue for that." So, uh, so he asked me, "Okay, what position you play?" I said, "Sir, I play right in forward." Okay, so he asked me, "What is the difference? What is sudden death in football?" So just imagine a 12th class student who is just passed out, and they are asking what is called sudden death in football. Is anybody who is not a player and who doesn't know the nuances of football will not be able to answer or will not come to know. But somehow, since I was a devoted footballer and in my 10th, right from my 10th class. I was probably doing boards also. I was used to be one of the few boys who used to take a ball, football, and play with the kids, the neighborhood kids. So I told him sudden death is when the all the teams are locked in the equal scores, and after the penalty shootout is also done, is again a 0-0. It is equal. Then after the penalty shootout is done, after the extra time is also done, then the team which scores the first goal is called the sudden death.
You've gone on mute.
Call in between.
All right.
So yeah.
So the take-home message is don't lie during your SSV, come what may, be yourself, because the people on the other end are smart enough to figure out if you're lying.
Not at all. Not at all. You have to be absolutely straightforward, to the point, honest in whatever you say or you deal with other course-mates, with other SSB mates. I was just reading somewhere last year about 6,50,000 people appeared for the ND exam.
Okay.
For a vacancy of 390. So can you imagine during our time, the vacancies were just 300. So now with the women intake happening, now the vacancy has been increased. Obviously, a couple of new squadrons have been, during our time, it was 15 squadrons. Now you have 18 squadrons. So imagine, you have about 390 odd people coming every 6 terms out of 6,50,000 population. What is the choice, man? You gotta be a Superman.
Agree. Absolutely agree. Absolutely. Now let's take this conversation forward. What happens in NDA? How do they take somebody from Civi Street or a civilian and then, make him this battle-hardened warrior who's ready for combat?
NDA teaches you have about 6 terms in NDA.
Okay.
And right from the first term to the sixth term, every 6 months you grow slowly and you learn the nuances of the tactics, the various training aspects, the physical training, the horse riding, the ragada which you get in the battalion area or in the squadron. The bonhomie which you develop amongst your course mates, amongst your squadron mates, it is unbelievable. It is unbelievable, unmatchable. No one ever can. Somebody who's never been a cadet at NDA cannot understand what goes in NDA. It is unbelievable. Love association, whether you're in the class of Sudan block or you are in the squadron or you are doing any other activities. You live for your course mates, you die for your course mates. That is my philosophy, and I have been since being a second student, second generation NDA officer, and the third generation from the army. Otherwise, my grandfather also was in the Indian Army, and so you live for your course mates and you die for your course mates. That has been my philosophy. And my squadron, of course, I was from Juliet Squadron, which was during my time one of the best squadrons, not only in terms of the competition which used to be held, but otherwise our environment is so nice. You don't unnecessarily trouble your own course mates, your own juniors. You help them in a way that you take them forward, and you that is how you develop a bonhomie for anybody who's from your own side. Yeah.
Something that I was kind of reading online is that when you're in the NDA, especially during your first year, you're not allowed to walk anywhere. You have to run everywhere. You're given cycles, but sometimes you have to even carry that cycle and run. Is there any truth to this?
Yes, of course, of course. Anybody who's joining as a first termer, because the logic is that these first termers don't know how to march. They still learn the nuances of the drill square test, the DST, which is supposed to be there as a mark of a guy who clears his drill square test. Since they can't do the drill square test marching on the on the Suran block and near the Ashoka Road. So it's better that they run, because running will also get them more stamina and they will become tougher. And yes, that is how they will learn the nuances of a good NDA cadet.
Uh, the other thing that we would have to get into is any story or any conversation about the ustads. This absolutely legendary for people like me who've never been in the army. We hear stories from absolute legends like you, and we're all like, they do come across as extremely intimidating. If you could share your memory with your favorite ustad, are they
My
genuinely as tough as they
Oh,
made
no, no,
out to
no.
be?
They are these pillars of training in all our academies. They are the best. They are the cream of the cream of the Indian Army. Just imagine, 11 lakh army we have, total strength, and they are the cream of the cream. They are devoted guys, physically studs, I will say, and they are the best. Whether it's a PT ustad or they are drill ustads, they live, they love their job, and they can do anything for their cadets. I have such great memories of my ustads, and I will thank them, whether they were PT ustads and whether they were drill ustads, my weapon ustads, my commando instructors. They were best. They were the best. Yeah.
And the Josh run, I think, is something which happens, which is like a 40 or 50-kilometer run where you have to put battle load and you have to go for a 40, 50-kilometer run, sometimes in the hills. How was your experience there? And because I'm a little bit of a runner, I'm also very curious to know, are you allowed to carry any kind of hydration packs or gels, or is it just water?
I mean, during our NDA, we have one run, Josh run, called the camp. It is called, what is it called? I forgot the name of the camp. Camp Torna is second term, I think, and Camp Rovers. Yes, I remember now. So Camp Rovers is held in our fourth term, uh, and Trishul happens in our sixth term. So every 2 terms we have this, these exercises where we carry loads of between 25 kgs, and you're supposed to negotiate a route which is navigate in the night, and you're supposed to be, reaching your destinations or points which are manned by the ustads in a given stipulated time. So any squadron who completes those Josh run fastest generally adjust the winner. So I mean, you have to. I mean, army prepares you for ultimately. This is the ultimate test. Any test which is done for the combat, whether it's actuals which happen in op vijay, or when you serve in a high altitude, or when you do in a counterinsurgency, the ultimate test is the grit and the determination which you learn during your exercises. And generally, the mettle of a man comes to know when you do these exercises in the wild, in the open. Because to survive those nuances, you have to be mentally and physically very tough. So yeah, so good. I mean, the NDA is maintaining its standard, I hope, and
I'm sure.
we keep
I'm sure there.
we keep producing wonderful people, wonderful officers, men who can continue with the army. Because I have spent about 25 odd years in the army, and I have no regrets. I still had about 7 8 years left in myself. I thought now is the time to give it back to the society, whatever I learned. So that's how I started this ultimate survival campsite. Yeah.
And then once NDA got over, you went to IMA first for another year, I'm assuming, before you started serving?
Yes. Yes. After the you see what happens is the NDA cadets who do their 3 years in NDA are then they do 1 year of training in IMA. We join as second termers over there, and yeah. So generally, it is a very easy thing for a ex NDA guys to serve in the Indian Military Academy as a cadet. So because you have already seen those 3 years of ragda and everything, so that 1 year is hardly any tough. Obviously, you have to go through the through the motions of 1 year, and but relatively IMA is much easier than NDA, and generally ex-NDAs do slightly better. I was also lucky. I did well, and I was awarded the first. I was first in the order of merit in my course who joined the infantry of 135 guys. And yes, I did well, and I was okay, and I was a I did my basic courses. I joined my father's unit, which is 2-3 Gurkha rifles. Although I was not very keen to join the Gurkhas, but then my father prevailed over me, and that is how I wrote my choice and joined the Gurkhas. And
My grandfather served in the Gorkhas. So
yeah,
this
so
is this is
my
great.
father was in the second, third Gurkha rifles, and I also took second, third Gurkha rifles as my choice. Though my choice was never Gurkhas, I was volunteering for 9 para during my time, and I would have got it also because I was already first in the order of merit. But then my father's pressure, the CEO writing DOs to me, and my own postmate, late Kevin, who finally joined the 9 para because he came to me a day prior of my those when we were filling our forms for the units. So he says, "यार मेरे को जाने दे, तू मत ले, तू तो तेरा तो PC है, तो मेरे को जाने दे 9 para." So there was a very whole night I just couldn't sleep, that day, that night. So finally I said, "ठीक है यार, Kevin तू जा." और मेरे को तो बड़ी lot of pressure is coming from home also. So I'll join 2-3 GR.
Gorkhas.
So I was in my heart of heart I was wanting to join the 9 para SF because I was, but then there was a lot of pressure, and some people tricked me into influencing me to join the Gurkhas. But anyway, no regrets. It was again a very fine. All units are same. All troops are fine. It is just the set of officers and the people who are there at that time. That is important.
So now you're serving in the Gorkhas, and then you decide that you want to do a stint at the NSG. So first, for starters, for people who are not aware of the NSG, could you explain what is the NSG and why did you decide to go there?
Yeah. So after you have done your basic, you passed out from NDIMA and you become an officer, and you do your basic courses of whatever as an infantry officer. You do your basic training also, like the YOs, the young officers, in which you learn about the weapons, the automatics, the heavy machine guns, and other platoon weapons. So you also do your commando course. So I was fortunate. I did well in my commando course. I
The
was
commando course in Belgaum.
Belgaum, yes. So I got a instructor grading, and I was instructor thereafter. I got posted as instructor in Belgaum also after that. So once I was there, I there was during our time there was a vacancy. There was volunteer. Some people who asked for some volunteers for NSG. So I thought this is the best time where I'm still young and I'm fit, so I can sort of get into the national security guard. So I volunteered, thinking that after my instructor's training I'll again be made as instructor. But no, they made me do that 3 months of course again, and I was fortunate. I did well in that too, and I was instructor there too, and I was thereafter kept in the National Security Guards Manesar uh, as a officer for training, and a probation officer, which they call as a squadron commander training, where my responsibility was responsible for the intake of the army commandos in 51 SAG and the 52 SAG during my time.
So not we cannot let you go this easily. You have to give us the details and you have to tell us. You can pick which one. Of either you can tell us about what it takes to pass successfully and do well at the commando training school in Belgaum, or of the NSG probation. Let's go into details, because this for me is perhaps the most interesting part of the podcast.
Yeah, so the commando course at Belgaum is a very tough course of almost 42 days.
Okay.
And in which you have to do speed marches of 10, 20, 30, and 40 kilometers. Apart from that, there are about 16, 17 various discipline things in which you have to sort of learn the nuances. You have to learn the nuances of, say, rock climbing. You have to learn the nuances of navigation, learn the nuances of survival. You have to learn the nuances of how to, various map reading. I mean, demolition. You have to have aspects of other team building. I mean, it's a very vast. You have to learn the confidence jump. So I mean, you cannot hide anything at the commando wing. So as an infantry officer, you have to. They will test you for those 16, 17 things, which is extremely difficult. You can fool them in one odd, but ultimately you will be caught. So it is better that you are well prepared initially and come for the course well in hand. And so I mean, I was quite motivated to do well in this course because during my platoon episode, I was just a bravo. So I thought, yes, I must do well in this course. And physically, yes, I was quite okay, better than some of my course mates.
You you
I was
you you look like a stud even today.
no, no, I keep myself physically fit, and I just try to do my 10 km almost every day and do my little bit of push-ups and pull-ups. So yeah, because you at the end of the day, your health is most prime, and you got to be doing your daily errands on your own. That is the best, especially after you take a retirement. So it is very important that you are able to. So similarly in NSG also you have a different aspect of, it's a 3 month probation course. So all those who do not sort of, you got to do the rigmarole and all the routines right from morning to night. So 90 days is a long time to test a guy. So there the parameters are slightly different. However, they are not also not easy. They are pretty tough. You got to be mentally and physically alert there also. You got to clear those tests. The battle assault obstacle course at the NSG is one of the toughest in the world, I can say. The counter insurgency, the counter hijacking, the anti terrorism, all the nuances which you learn over there, the sniping, the ambushing, the various aspects of I mean so many things. What the urban commando does. So it's wonderful to learn those nuances. And since I was there as an instructor for almost 3 years, so it was great to. I mean, the late Major Unni Krishnan who died, he was my student. I was his probation officer.
Okay.
So yeah, so I trained him, and so during my time, this was the team which we had trained as the CC. It is called the Commando Course.
For anybody listening who's not aware of Major Sandeep Unnikrishnan, he is the Braveheart of the 2611. You could watch a Hindi movie made on his life called Major. There's another TV show called State of Siege, if I'm not wrong, Part 2, which is based on him. Absolute legend, Ashok Chakra. So that says it all. You don't really need to say anything after Ashok Chakra. So far, we've spoken about a lot of physical training. We've spoken about a lot of weapons. Is there a lot of importance given to unarmed combat?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, in fact, unarmed combat is a thing which has been taught even at the commando wing. I was also responsible for learning the nuances of unarmed combat right from my childhood days. I was into unarmed combat. I was that time it was called karate during our kids. So I used to learn karate as a kid also, and then I was a fairly good boxer in NDA and IMA both, where I was a medalist. I used to fight. So I was technically I was not very good, frankly, but I was, yeah, the stamina and the strength wise, and मतलब मार भी खाता था तो मैं गिरता नहीं था. That I broke my nose couple of times in NDA. काफी पिटाई भी हुई. But then it was good fun. I always learned the nuances of NDA and in boxing. Because technically the guys who come from RMC and Sainik school, they are quite good. And people like us who are coming as students after class 12th, although boxing was there in my school, but then I was not very a guy who used to do regular boxing. I used to just wear the gloves once in a time. So yes, apart from that, when I went to commando wing, there were a couple of instructors. We got together and we trained ourselves in civil under a black belt guy for about a year or so. And then when I joined the NSG, I was also part of the Krav Maga, the Israeli form of hand-to-hand combat, the self-defense combat for about a year or so under one of the best masters in the Indian, now he's called as Vicky Kapoor. So I learned the nuances from him also. He was very good. And so then we made a pool of these instructors during our time in NSG, about 20 odd people who learned Krav Maga under him. And then we started training the commandos in Krav Maga. So that was the first time when General Yadava was there as the training our boss there at NSG, and we got together and we started training the commandos in NSG for Krav Maga. And I can assure you it's very handy because that is the way the humans fight. It gives a lot of confidence to everybody.
Okay. Uh, is it all right if we can talk of some operations that you were a part of?
Yeah, of course. I mean, now that the operations some of them have become old, and but some of them are still relevant today. But I can so I can just tell you what operations I have been into. I have been into operations in the JNK.
Okay.
I've been in operations in Manipur. In fact, Manipur, I feel so bad about the condition which is happening there. But yes, I'm sure, you have to, as a soldier, you have to give respect to the militant also. You have to see that how these militants are fighting, why these militants are fighting. So during my time also, like in Manipur, I remember I was couple of times, the PLA, which is the People Liberation Army, which is the one of the most deadliest organizations. They had ambushed me a couple of times, because but then I was very nice to the locals. My intelligence network was solid. I used to get a lot of good information, solid information. Generally, prior to any things, I used to generally get it. So during my ambush time also, मेरे को पहली खबर हो गई थी कि सर आपके पीछे कोई बंदे आए हुए हैं, वो आपको चेपेंगे. Because obviously I had also done similar things to their people, and I was nasty to them. So they were also nasty to them, nasty to me. So a couple of times they एक बार तो वो मोबाइल मेरे in one operation, I got a call one day on my mobile. तो he says कि अभी अभी तो तेरे बंदे को चेपा है, अभी अभी तुम्हारा बारी है. तो I said यार तुम मेरे को मार के क्या करोगे. मैंने कहा even if my bhoot comes, I'm going to sort you out one day. so यार they also used to wonder यार साला क्या पागल आदमी है ये. तो मैंने कहा देखो यार मैं तो जो करूंगा. If you want to surrender, you come. I'm the best friend of yours. So yes, I had a great time, and these couple of militant groups. I will not name them, but I had very good relations with a couple of them also, because they knew I'm not going to finger them unnecessarily. But yes, if they trouble the local population, then I'm the guy who's going to be after
Get
them.
them.
So yes, uh, that is how that love and hate relationship was always there, and I used to sort of respect them, because of whatever they're doing. Because they're also they are fighting with their weapons. But I have seen those guys. They are deadly, man. Their training is super. They are surviving in the jungles. They run like bloody deers with weapons. Their ambushing skills is the best. So I have a lot of respect and regards.
So is this the mark of a true soldier? Someone who can say, you may be my enemy. On the battlefield, if we meet, it's different. But when it's not the battlefield, I will hold you in high esteem because I respect your skills. Is that
देखो
the
यार
mark?
when you are in operations, na, that time you don't think anything else. You are only thinking how to kill the bugger. At the same time, how to keep your men safe. So that is the most important thing as a soldier, as an officer who is leading the operation. Most important. That is the skill, the persona of the individual. If he can take his men out of that danger, at the same time, chepo those buggers. Trust me, whenever I have done operations, I've served in Siachen, I've served in JNK, I've served in Manipur, I've seen the UN fighting in UN also. In fact, I've fired. I was one of the few officers who fired in UN in Congo against these militants. Because then I told them, I used to tell my CEO, I said, sir, ये खुकरी मैंने दिखाने के लिए नहीं रखी हुई है, इनको बताने के लिए की हुई कि this is Bhagat, don't take panga against Indian Army because we are here to chepo you. Simple. If you are nice to us, we'll be 10 times nice to you. But if you think you can push your way, you're hardly mistaken. We will take your happiness for life. So that is how we used to, be absolutely firm, but at the same time friendly. And we used to make sure that nobody messes with our security system. And trust me, not a single casualty happened during our UN days, and we came out absolutely safe. So things were very bad. Our induction was by choppers, and otherwise also, my funda is very straight. You are nice to me, I'm 10 times nice to you. You finger me, God save you.
And yeah, sure. If we could get into the details of any operation.
देख यार अभी ना वो I will not discuss
ठीक है,
any details,
I get
but
it.
but
I get
I'll
it.
tell you overall. I have already told you
हाँ जी.
the moral of the story is you got to be safe. You got to keep your men safe. Chepo the other side. Get rid of them quickly. No unnecessarily killings of the civilians. Just keep safe, and at the same time make sure that you are getting everybody back home safe.
So a very controversial question. Next one. Feel free not to answer it. If this makes you uncomfortable in any form, you don't have to answer this at all. Is
Okay.
PTSD a reality in the Indian Army, or is it something that does not happen here? Because our structure is a little different from the armies abroad.
What is this abbreviation form? Yeah, I just forgot.
Post-traumatic
Post trauma. Okay.
stress disorder.
Okay. यार देख ऐसा है यार PTSD is generally something which these people who are mentally not tough, they must be going through it, all this nonsense. In my opinion, if you're a bloody mentally fit bugger, if you're clear in your mind, there's nothing called PTSD and all. It's your job to fight. It's your job to see the bloodshed. We've also seen our bloodshed during OPJ, during various operations in Manipur, JNK. You've seen our own men dying. We've chipped out the other side also. But then, yeah, that's what is your job. Yeah, that is what you're getting paid for. So there's nothing called post trauma or these kind of things or PTSD. In my opinion, you got to be mentally, physically so tough. You got to have nerves of steel, and your body should be like very tough. So forget about all this. I mean, it's just the talk of the weaklings, in my opinion.
Okay, fair enough. After such a nice career, was it, and this is one of my last questions, how did you decide to kind of leave the army? How did that decision, because you were saying you still have a few 5 to 7 years of service left, how did that decision happen?
Yeah, you see, after you were already sort of, you have, because you see, in the army, it's a very hierarchical pyramid form of a system where even if you get one odd bad guy over you, and he screws up your ACRs, and he doesn't like your face. So unfortunately, I also face the same thing in what others face. And I was a very very straightforward, blunt guy, and I sort of used to not mince my words. I used to say whatever is good, bad, ugly on the face. So so after I was sorted out in the army, you generally get those staff appointments which are sort of you don't enjoy. So as a soldier, as a guy who's used to be on the ground and in operations, and I never used to like the staff jobs. I mean, I remember as a young army officer, I was told by my CO to try to go for some ADC thing, for some, for governor or some president or some. I said, यार ये सब मेरे से नहीं होगा. ADC फेडीसी जो है ना, ये this is I cannot. My job is to fight the. I mean, you put me in the most toughest arenas, but ये मेरे से ये kuchi kuing will not happen. So I never did any kuchi ku, and so after about 25 years, I thought now is the best time to call it a shot, and that is how I started this my ultimate survival campsite, where I thought the nuances of adventure, the team building, the leadership, the actual survival is not known to the civilian world, So the combat survival. So I thought now is the time to start building my area. So that is how I started Ultimate Survival Campsite in Kangra in Himachal, from where I am presently speaking to. So this is my campsite, and I'll just show you around. Have a look.
Please. Oh, wow, this is
So that is how I thought now is the time to start building and start giving it to the society. And yes, I am happy that we are sort of giving it to the people. And in fact, just today morning, a group of kids have just left me, where we were doing some adventure camping for these kids, and another group is also about to come in the next 20 minutes.
Oh, great,
from now
great,
on.
great.
Yeah.
Before we wind up, what is your final message to the youth of the country?
Yeah, देख ऐसा है कि I am a
Now
myself.
let's face it, sir, you're becoming a little old, you have to give advice. You may be
देखो
fitter
my
than
advice.
the 20-year-olds, but you still, advice to deni padegi.
नहीं एडवाइस तो यार हम हमेशा देने के लिए तैयार हैं, and हम चाहते हैं कि the youth have to be solid, because India is growing at a very fast pace. So we need good citizens. We need true citizens. Those true citizens, good citizens, will only come if they themselves are mentally and physically tough, fit, and they think about not only about themselves but also think about the country. In my opinion, country should come first, always and every time. Even as a veteran, I mean, whatever, if I can do something for the country, I will. It will be my honor, because I am still, for the next 5 years, I am still a reservist. So even if my country, and I'm doing my own, entrepreneurship now, and I'm doing my own job. But if the country needs me, I mean, I will be just at it. So that should be the attitude of not only a veteran, but anybody who wants to do anything for the country. So guys, be tough, train yourself, and enjoy, live life, king size, no regrets, and do whatever your heart wants to do. That's it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. This was wonderful. I can't tell you how much this means to me. The fact that you're from my grandfather's regiment, that also means a lot to me. The fact that your father was also in my grandfather's regiment is, again, something which is very, very important to me. Thank you so much for taking your time out, and I hope you have a
Thanks,
lovely
buddy.
day ahead. Yeah.
Thanks, buddy. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and take
Jai
care.
Hind. Jai Hind. Yes.
Jai Hind.
Jai Hind. And everybody else, please like and subscribe and stay tuned for more episodes of The Sasan Show.